Hi, and welcome to Tarot 42. Welcome back if you're a returning subscriber, and welcome in if you're new. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. All of these help for me to connect to your energy. If you are interested in a personal reading, please contact me by opening the description box below. This information will be available within. Please take what resonates and release what does not. I do curse occasionally, though I do try to avoid it. But I am a passionate person who had a sailor for a daddy. It happens. I ask that all angels, ancestors, guides, and our Creator to guide this reading so that no negative energies can enter upon and manipulate the messages coming through, and any and all negative energies will be returned to sender tenfold. Let's dive in. All right, y'all. So somebody has been called to a higher purpose. And I see here, I kind of want to start off with the bad card here because it's, well, it is what it is. The artificial heart. Somebody here is not in their purpose, and that's never a good thing, right? And I feel like whomever you are, you're not in your purpose. And when we feel this way, it kind of makes us feel tied down and frustrated. So yoke is an appropriate card for that. Now, moving past the negative side of things, right? So we have inspire others with your feelings as a full-time job. So what this means to me, what this says to me is that what you should be doing, what you're being called to do, is to somehow communicate with others. Now, whether that's through a YouTube or a blog or person to person, direct, or even like a podcast. There's a multitude of ways that you can connect to people and utilize your feelings. And especially if you've been through some things, like there's nothing better than sitting down and just talking with someone or a group of people that, they are seeking wisdom. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take your advice, and that's okay. But at least they have that information out there from someone who's gone through something similar, or, obviously it can't be the exact same thing because the characters involved probably aren't the same people. But if it's a similar situation, there could be something incredibly intense that you can bring to the table that could completely change their perspective and give them clarity. It could also give you clarity and change your perspective as well, right? And I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Divine Masculine came out. And of course, we all carry traits of both, right? The Divine Masculine, the Divine Feminine. Both are within us. We just need to learn how to balance those aspects of ourselves. So with this card coming out, and to me, a Scorpion is very masculine as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it is. Just that's how I interpret it. But maybe there's too much masculinity. Maybe you've kind of been forced into a corner where you've had to be more masculine in your femininity, or you need to bring more balance into the masculine side of yourself if there's too much feminine, right? So when you do move forward with this, there's hard work ahead of you with this table card. And the second message in these cards here is be prepared to sacrifice for attitudes from the past about serving. Okay, right? So what good can possibly come? How can you make a living off of yada 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 yada? Everybody has these like negative attitudes about things when somebody wants to try something new and different. And so, you know, if you look at some of the attitudes that people have about psychology and therapy and whatnot, right? There's people that have this like negative view of it because it's pseudoscience, but it's not too far-fetched when you start really getting into the meat of therapy and psychology. And I personally don't agree with the use of psych meds. I don't really particularly care for meds in general. I think if we could use more natural remedies, we'd be doing a lot better, because I think medications tend to put, now this is not advice from a licensed professional or anything, but my personal opinion is that I feel like we could do a lot better with more natural remedies instead of putting a Band-Aid over it and then causing like 20 other things to potentially come from that medication. You know, you see those commercials with all the side effects and what, you know, I don't want to get rid of one thing and gain 20, you know? So I think we kind of overdo it in that. However, pseudoscience or not, a lot of the studies and the science has a lot of information and data to back that up. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's pseudoscience. It is and it isn't, right? But when you've got information that backs up the claim, you know, with research and studies and whatnot, then you can gain knowledge from that. And we are a collective. Even though it doesn't seem like we are, we really are a collective group of people, right? So, of course, we're going to have similar thoughts. We're going to have similar behaviors. We're going to have things that are similar. And so that's how you gather that kind of information, right? So it's not 100% pseudoscience. You got the penguin, and a key word is authentic. Reach out to your tribe in times of need. Family gives you strength when you face the storm. Love your uniqueness. You are full of surprises. Break free from others' expectations and just be yourself. How many times have we heard, to be in your purpose, you have to be yourself, right? I'm just going to kind of go through some of these before I get any further into it. The wishing tree came out. My wishes grow like a big tree. No, I'm sorry. My wishes grow big like a tree. Either way. Tomato, tomato. And kindness. Nurture friendships with those who bring out the best in you. Foster kindness, and that is what you will attract. And so that goes up here, you know. When we're compassionate towards others, we can change someone's entire world. We can change their perspective, right? By even sharing some of our own painful experiences in life, we can bring so much to the table for another person, even if we don't think we can. And so the last message on this row of cards is yielding is the only way to use your intuition, and just do it a little at a time. And this card here is the new moon in Scorpio, to work through your fears, right? So you might be kind of scared to like venture off into your purpose, because your purpose doesn't seem like, oh, well, okay, and you're getting a lot of like negative feedback, but you need to be with the people that are closest to you, that are supportive of you and want you to move forward with your purpose. Because there is a reason that each and every one of us at an individual level are here to bring the collective together, to move us forward into a different space than what we've been in. And for this, you'll be receiving or giving a precious gift, right? So either way, you're giving and receiving a gift, because ultimately, when you gift anything, the idea is to do it without the expectation of receiving something in turn, right? And since the world has been the way that it is, it doesn't seem like people that give really get anything back. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but I promise that the gift, at some point, that person, whether they gave you something back or not, again, we're not worried about if they give us something back if we give, but if they don't, at some point in their life, they're going to think about that. They're going to reflect on that moment and think, I could have done more, And if they don't, then, well, that's a whole different breed of human. But most will reflect on that if they felt like they didn't return the favor or pay it forward or in some way balance that exchange, right? So 3 cards came out in this deck of cards. We have traveling lightly, simplify your life. So much easier when you do, right? Joy and delight, open your heart to joy. And being in your purpose does open you up, and you're giving without expecting anything in return. That's a beautiful thing, right? And you're protected by angels. You are cherished by the angels. So that tells me even more that you have a higher purpose than whatever it is you're in. And whomever you are, that you have a higher purpose. You know that you have a higher calling. And things, if you're going to change things up and, maybe be an inspirational speaker or whatever it is, you don't have to just rush into that full time. You can build that up as a kind of a side hustle while you're working. I know time is hard. It's stupid linear time, but it can be done. And so that was the message that I wanted to kind of get out there for whoever might need to hear it. There's nothing wrong with moving towards your purpose, even if it seems ridiculous to some people, or like it's not going to be a successful venture. People will support you, and your tribe will come in, because again, you foster kindness, and that is what you will attract. We attract what we are focused on and thinking about and expecting, and just believing that it's already happened is a huge thing too, right? So and just kind of throw that little message out there. Jesus said it is done. Well, what does that mean? It means that when he died on the cross, if you follow, if you don't follow that thought or that belief, that's fine. But what that simply meant was it is done. That was his gift, right? Now, granted, I'm so sorry about my squeaky chair. It was a forced gift, right? To an extent. I mean, you get into the philosophy and all that, but it is done. Meaning, if you want to be healed, you have to know that it is done. There is a point on this timeline where it is done. So long as you believe it, you just have to believe it. And again, it goes back to that power that we have within us. We can sit there and we can like project it out and it's everybody else's fault. And it's really not. It's not anybody else's fault. Yet there are things that people do that we can't control, but we can control our reaction. We can control our, those types of things. But if you believe it is done, it is done. You just have to convict yourself in your thought process in order to reach that, right? And it will show up. So I hope this helps. Like, share, subscribe. If you know somebody that needs to hear this message, share with them as well. And I will see you all soon.